Hey, my name is Manish Sharma, and welcome to this introductory blog about investments in emerging markets. Uh, I am going to be your instructor for this course, but right now we are uh, connecting through this blog and not a lecture. Unfortunately, or fortunately, due to the events that we all know, we are confined to this little space. And for next 2 weeks, that's what I'm being told. We'll have to interact through this medium of YouTube, and hopefully from third week we would have secured an official account of Zoom, so we would be having this live real-time class. That's something I look forward to. Now, Zoom is going to be extremely helpful in connecting, not only having you can basically stop me, you can ask me questions at any time you like, but also you would have a chance to type in your messages in the chat box. So I've used it for a couple of years, and it's a super neat and super easy to use app. In the next video next week, I will explain you how to use it. In case you've never used it, we'll talk about that. So that's the good news. Probably from third week onwards, we will have, on the pre-decided scheduled time, we will have a class which is going to be third period on Wednesday from 1:40 p.m. So 13:40, that's going to be the time. So we will be covering a lot of ground in this course, hopefully. Uh, as I've mentioned, because of the unique circumstances that is forcing us to be connecting through the screen, those same events are having a far-reaching impact on the world of investments. Now, investments is one of the most interesting thing that I'm extremely passionate about. I invest a lot in the markets, different markets, and I want to infuse my enthusiasm for this particular genre of finance among all of you, hopefully. Investments are interesting from not only from the intellectual perspectives, but also because they're very gratifying. You do realize that you can actually put your understanding to work, and you see the difference that and understand an educated mind and uh, pure speculation, the difference between the two approaches to investments. We would be certainly looking at those examples, hopefully. And talking about emerging markets in particular, I think the changes are visible. Now, I'll give you one example, what kind of changes we are looking at and what kind of unprecedented historic event we are passing through. One of the things is that's been going on, one of the elements of reality, economic reality, is negative interest rates. Now let's explore it for a moment. That's been going on for within this one decade, when last decade, that's become more like a norm. Starting from the US financial crisis, which was in 2008, 2009. Uh, Please, when you have time, please search, look for negative interest rate and what it means. We will obviously talk once we'll start having lectures. I'll give you a primer. Primer is basically basic concepts of how interest rates are determined and what exactly do we mean by negative interest rate. Negative interest rate means you give me money. Now, anytime you give me money, you are the lender and I'm a borrower. As a borrower, I'm supposed to compensate you for giving me your money, because you're taking a risk, right? But with negative interest rate, what happens? You will give me, as a lender, you would give me money. And at the same time, for borrowing, you would give me some more money, additional money. So you will compensate me, not the other way around. And that sounds really the crazy thing, right? A similar thing that we noticed in last week, for the first time in the history of financial market, in the history of economics, is we have in the US market, for the first time, the oil prices have become negative. Think of it for a moment. What it means? It means the WTI, which is the index of oil prices in the US, West Texas Intermediate. It's a quality of oil which is traded, and it's kind of standardized price. Uh, and what? So it's gone negative, which means the oil manufacturers, the oil companies, they are willing to give you, if you live in US, they are willing to give you oil, and at the same time they also giving some extra money, but take it for free and please take some more money for taking it. Now, one of the things that comes to my mind is when you do recycle big things in Japan, right? To recycle, you have to pay a certain amount of money. You give them some kind of a big refrigerator. Let's say in many cases, those fridge or those television are perfectly functioning. They are not bad, but you have to pay money to do that. But it's something like that, but in a very different scenario. So you want oil, they're giving you oil, but they are also giving you money to offtake that thing. And the reason for that is before this crisis happened, because there's always a lag between market and the manufacturing activity for a lot of goods, not services. Services, you can tweak them in real time, but for goods, manufacturing takes time for a lot of products, and oil is one such thing. You have to manufacture oil, you have to create those oil, refine them, from crude to refining. It takes months, that whole process, and then you have to send them to the final consumer. So that takes further months and months. So you have to prepare for the demand in the future always, right? And because of this COVID shock, all of a sudden the demand is sapped. Never happened in the history. Nobody can actually plan or create a contingency plan or make some kind of risk mitigation strategy. That's simply is unheard of. It is simply impossible. So they have manufactured a lot, but they don't have space to keep that oil in the US. And so as a result, because they can't throw that oil, they think we have already created, we are giving you, take somebody so that you can, because you can't throw it, right? Because throwing would mean if they, let's say, if there is an easy solution, they can throw all that oil in the sea, because most of the refineries, they are close to the sea area. That would lead to a huge hue and cry, environmental terms, right? There'll be huge fines of billions of dollars. The companies can go bankrupt, so they can't do that. The only way they can do get rid of that excess manufacturing or excess oil refining is they have to find somebody to somehow, you know, they want to get rid of it. And that's why this has become negative. Now, this would have a long-term impact. This is historic. And we are finding, so this is in general is a sign of an anomaly in economics, or not even anomaly, that's become very common in many, many countries, and including Japan, deflation. Now, deflation is continuous decline in the price level. Inflation is where the prices go up. Deflation is where the prices continuously come down as the time passes. Now, deflations are bad, and we'll explain in the classroom why they're bad. We have to understand, because the price of the value of the money, the currency, is one of the single most important aspect of investment, because you want to grow your investment. The reason you want to do an investment is to grow your money in the future. And therefore, the concepts, the basic concepts like time value of money, which means as time passes, the value of money should grow at a certain level. That's the general, basic, commonsensical, conventional wisdom about investments. But a lot of things we see today is not following those conventional wisdoms. And that's why understanding finance using the old textbooks is completely useless. And that's why in this course, we want to really dig deep into the ground realities, and not just looking at some of the textbookish sort of traditional line of thinking. We don't want to do that. So this is the syllabus that you see on your screen that's available online. And we will be looking at the real-time information. So a lot of things that are given in the schedule as to what we will be covering, that's going to change. That's bound to change. And I will be covering a lot of things that are given in the first two weeks, because through these blogs, it would be very hard to convey the idea, because unless I see some of you, unless I get some kind of response as to you're following what I'm trying to explain, it would be very one-sided. And I know I'm known to be running with my ideas, and I don't want to get ahead of myself, because I want to make sure that we understand. There'll be a lot of jargons, there'll be a lot of technical terms that will be used in this course, but please don't worry about it, because from time to time, one thing is very clear: we will be running this course through Zoom. There'll be an online aspect of it, so which would limit probably our interactability. So one of the suggestions that I'm offering is, please send me your questions, your concerns, your the points that you don't understand that are covered. And once I have a list of those questions, I'll make special videos covering those aspects. I'll try to explain them using some simple examples. And so please don't worry if you think your question is very simple or very basic. There's nothing basic about investments, because some of the most difficult concepts are really basic ones in economics. That's what I personally believe. So please send those questions to the blogs. So a lot of things here would have to go through a lot of change, like China, India, emerging Asia, Middle East, MENA, basically Middle East and Northern Africa, then Sub-Saharan Africa, Latin America, and emerging Europe. You will be covering all these regions, and we'll look at the cases, and hopefully we will get some of the recent cases in the current time. So I would be actually not, so what my plan is, I would not be focusing on the traditional case studies. Rather, we will look for the op-ed and informational data related pieces, and we'll try to extrapolate and create a case as we go along in this course. Then we'll also look at how companies have traditionally looked at emerging market, the investment companies from the big ones, how they've looked at and how they are looking at this point of time. What are the attraction or risk factors that a lot of these big investors are feeling and facing? And so that would be the whole contour of this course. As I told you, we'll be on Zoom in a couple of weeks' time, hopefully. And in the next video, I'm going to tell you, in case you've not used Zoom, I will be explaining you how to use that platform. It's a very simple platform, straightforward. And in order to stay connected to this course, I will also be uploading the assignments for the coming weeks. I will give you a reading list as well. And there'll be some surveys that I would be running in order to gauge the effectiveness of my teaching style, and whether we need to make some adjustments so that I become a bit more understandable. I become a bit more clear. My clarity increases. So that would be our goal. So please have a look at the website of this course on the portal. I'll be uploading all that information by Friday this week. And then next week, by Wednesday or Thursday, I should have uploaded another video which will outline what we expect going forward. So till then, my advice to you all would be to stay motivated, because clearly this is a very interesting and very different experience. So please stay motivated, please stay positive, and most of all, please stay safe. And I look forward to seeing you next week on YouTube. And then finally, we'll be able to interact on Zoom. So till then, see you. Bye-bye.